so you sent this question and it's pretty complicated, so I think it's better with a video. And then, yeah, so I'm going to do a video explanation. I'll show you the work too. So we want to know when this function given here is less than 0. As we were talking in class yesterday, when we're working with logarithmic functions, we have to take into account that there's a domain restriction in each of these, right? So the value inside of here cannot be negative. So that means that x must be greater than -1/3, right? So any number, if it's less than -1/3, then inside here is going to be negative and this function isn't possible. And then we have to take into account the negative log of this function. What's inside of here, the negative part doesn't really matter. What's inside of here cannot be negative. So there's only a few values here that really can be negative, right? Because we're subtracting 2. So if I factored this out, I did this here. Get rid of all this other stuff. Just look down here in this corner, I'll explain the rest. So what's inside here can't be negative. So if I factor it, that means that if x cannot be the values where x is greater than -2 or x is greater than 1. It's kind of in between, and we can really see this if we graph it, right? So let's see. So here, let's turn these colors off. Here's the function, right? This one is restricted by that -1/3. All the x values are more positive than that. This piece, like I said, it just can't be the values between -2 and 1, right? These are where the asymptotes are. So I don't have these values included in the domain, but everything over here is okay. So I have those two things going on, right? For this piece, it must, so we can automatically see that since this piece limits over here, we don't care. Our solution cannot be this side, right? This piece here limits it to this side of the graph. And it excludes until x is 1. So the x is -1/3 all the way up to where x is 1. That part is also excluded because we have to go, well, what values of x are shared? So only when x is greater than 1 in our original function. We haven't even asked the question, well, where is this function subtracted from this section less than 0? And I'm going to show you the solution on Desmos, but first just let's look at it algebraically. Right, so this is a condensing, right? The subtraction, we can condense this down, and I just first solve it for 0 because I want to find these critical values. So I have 0 equals the ln of this function divided, right? When I see subtraction, it's division. And then, like we were working in class yesterday, the base of ln is e, so this is e to the 0 equals this function. Any number to the 0 power is 1. So I replace that with 1. So now I cross multiply. 1 times this function is x squared plus x minus 2. I bring over the 3x, I bring over the 1. And now I'm looking at the place where this factored form is less than 0. X is less than, I think I have it written backward. Do I have it written backwards? Let's see it together. No, I have it. X is less than 3. I have it written exactly how I want. Right, so x has to be less than 3 for this to be less than 0. And in this case, x is less than -1, but we already said that we didn't care, right? When x is less than -1, we don't care about any of that because this part is limiting it, right? So we can see that x has to be bigger than 1, bigger than the value that would make that negative, and then limited by the fact that we want to know where it's less than 0. So this part. All right. So tricky problem. What do we have to think about with these kind of problems? We have to think about the restrictions on the domain in the original problem, and then we can solve the problem, and we have to think, how does that restriction limit our final answer? So in this case, our answer is only going from 1 to 3. All right, I hope that helps. If not, let me know.